But God is alive for us. The fifth one, the cry of agony and pronouncement of a victim of power, abuse, and sacrifice. The cry of agony and pronouncement of a victim of power, a victim of abuse and sacrifice. There was a story of a family in a part of Nigeria. Let me not be specific, but I know the part. That if it's a royal family. Every daughter that marries in that family will have to be barren. And it was not so from beginning. And it came to a time of a particular king. You know this hereditary thing? It has been like that for years. That the king has a daughter. And the daughter was about to wed. And the family, the other family did due diligence and find out that no daughter ever married in that family has a child. They now approach them. This is what we find out. You know, loyalty to loyalty. They say, can we find out what happened? They began to trace it. They trace it to the first king. The first king had a daughter who was very friendly with one of the maids. They were two good friends. The daughter was to marry. The maid, too, was to marry. The day of the wedding of the daughter came. You know, Yoruba say one file roko. It was talk of the city. Few days later, the marriage of the maid came. They gave her a white cloth to tie on her wedding day. She was a maid, no dressing up, just good radiance, no bad rubbish. A maid, a friend of your own daughter. And the maid cried on that day and made a pronouncement that every daughter in this royal home who will marry without tying this same white cloth they made me to tie today will never see the fruit of the womb. The air picked it. Supervising demon took over. Washing. As soon as a daughter wants to marry in that family, bam, they stamp her. This one has to be married. And so it has been flowing. And the remedy now is that if anyone that wants to escape the curse must tie that white wrapper. How can a princess, tie this? They have to secure understanding between them and the other family. If you want this lady to have a child, this is how she must be dressed that day. We must not make noise about it. That was how that lady took it, dressed that way. Later, she came to her senses. This cannot continue. And ran to Jesus. Before that curse could be broken, down that family. Or else, it will have still remained there. Who abused power? The king. In 2 Samuel chapter 13, 2 Samuel chapter 13, verse 11 to 19. Saul, in his madness, envy-driven life about David, was looking for information here and there about David. And one man called Doeg, who was detained by the king to be with the priest. The day David ran to the priest and said, he demanded for sword, and the priest gave him bread. He said he was on assignment, on errand for Saul, but he was running away from Saul. That man was there. That man did not know what David was discussing with the priest Ahimelech. When Saul was seeking for information and having had problem with Saul, he was looking for good face. He wants to gain the good face of the king. He now said, yes, sir, the other day you detained me in the priest court with Ahimelech. I saw David came in there. Ahimelech gave him bread and gave him the sword. Saul said, David with Ahimelech, he summoned all the priests of that lineage, because was a city of the priests. He summoned all of them and asked, what have you conspired against me by giving my enemy support? Ahimelech was lost. He said, King, what are we talking about here? He said, David. He said, who is more loyal? Because an innocent person. Who is more loyal to the king than David? Who is running your errand? Saul got mad. He stood up. He ordered them to kill all the priests. And they slew all the priests one by one. One by one. They slew all of them. Only the last child escaped. Saul. How did Saul himself end? He died the same day with his 3 children. That did not end there. When David came to the throne, many years later, the Bible said there was famine in the land. 3 years famine, continuously. Famine in the land. David consulted the Lord. Why, Lord? What has happened? What have I done? The Lord said it was the sin of Saul for killing the priest. That's why the famine is here. What do we do, Lord? They brought the family, the remnant of the family that were killed by David. So God said we should please beg you, whatever compensation we should pay, we will pay, so that this family can be lifted from our land. Those ones said, no, they are not collecting anything. We want 7 sons of Saul to be given to us so that we will hang them. And Saul's direct children died with Saul. They had to look for his grandchildren. From his grandchildren, they picked 7. One of these grandchildren we are talking about, they are the children of Saul's daughter. You see how marriage can put a man in trouble. Saul's daughter were the ones that produced these 7 sons. One of them had 5, one had 2. They collected the 7. David just used his wisdom to hide Mephibosheth because of the covenant he had with Jonathan. 7 sons were produced and they were hung one day. It ended the generation of Saul, completely wiping them off the earth. Abuse, the cry in agony, and pronouncement of a victim of power. What about the cry of agony and pronouncement of the one that is abused? Those of you young men here, listen to me. Those of you that enjoy conspiring together, because I know you are here, to rape a lady, you are raping your future. Because a lady rape is without consent. The worst thing you can do to a lady is to rape her. That's the utmost of an abuse. Ammon, the first son of David, who abused this privilege of being the first son and raped her sister. How did it go? He ended up with no wife, no children after he died prematurely. All of them that abuse power. All of them that sacrifice the innocent. They die prematurely. I pray God will save us. Let me conclude. Some generational curses just flow. It's just flowing wherever the wind takes it to. That's where it goes. Why some jump from one person and pick on another? It's just going like this, just going like this. Gets to somebody, he stop, he jump. Pick the other person and continue his journey. But with Christ, it can be stopped if we call upon his name and we ask for mercy. I want you to study Daniel chapter 9 very carefully. Reading from verse 1. When God was sending them into captivity to Babylon, he said, you will be there for 70 years. Then I will bring you back. Daniel said, I understood through the book that 70 years is about to come. So he began to seek the face of the Lord because he has learned from the experience of what happened to Israel in Egypt. God said to Abraham, 400 years you will be there. At the end of 400 years, I will visit you. 400 years was coming, nobody remembered. Nobody prayed. They spent extra 30 years. Extra day in captivity is like 100 years. Daniel began to seek the face of the Lord. What was the tone of his prayer? Mercy. Confession of sins of his father. Known and unknown sin. Brethren, don't think that all is too well. You never knew what your father did before you were born. You can never tell where your mother visited before you were born. Shall we stand? Rapist, abortion specialist. God is watching you. Oh my God. Oh, the blood of Jesus. Oh, the blood of Jesus. Oh, the blood of Jesus. It washes white lady had a terrible asthma. One day, a man of God was praying for her. And suddenly the demon began to speak. He said, "Leave me alone, you wicked man. Why are you this wicked? Why do you want to drive me from my house?" And the man of God said, "Who are you?"